Joining us now seems to be with the winning party, the Democratic Party of Virginia, winning their special last night in Northern Virginia, is Justin Fairfax, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. There's three people in that race: Justin Fairfax, Susan Platt, and Gene Rossi. That, my friends, will be decided in a statewide Democratic primary on Tuesday, June 13th. And he had a great fundraising haul, and his disclosure looks pretty awesome to me. Joining us now, Justin Fairfax. Justin, good to have you with us.
Hey, John, great to be back with you. God bless you. Thanks for having me on again.
Okay, so before we get to your campaign, what do you think of my analysis of the Prince William County clerk's race?
I thought it was pretty great, and not just your analysis, which is usually very good, but the result. Jackie Smith, ran a great campaign, and there were so many people who came together to support her. John, as I may have mentioned, my wife is actually from Prince William County. Grew up in the Woodbridge, Lake Ridge area, went to Woodbridge High School. And so we had our whole family and all those connected to us coming out and focused on the special election. And so many other people, hundreds, if not thousands of people helped out in that race. And she won. And I think that is a sign of the energy that I have been seeing and talking about really for months. We got into this race 11 months ago. And I have just been seeing this momentum, this enthusiasm, this activism in the progressive movement just grow and grow and grow. And so that is the tip of the iceberg. And as I have said, what's going to happen in Virginia in 2017 is incredibly special. And I believe that Virginia is going to be the match that sparks the wildfire of progressive change all across the country. And you just saw that in Prince William County last night.
Well, look, and why are the Democrats getting such an edge in these absentee and early balloting? I mean, it's like you guys have mastered that, and the Republicans are back in the Stone Age here.
Well, again, I think that is a sign of not only the enthusiasm and the activism and the passion that you're seeing out there, again, in the progressive movement, but also just in the organization. We've seen just incredible groups of people who have gotten so active and involved, particularly in the last several months. And I have appeared with and supported these groups, whether it's Indivisible, Together We Will, Motherboard, just across the board. You are seeing this energy in addition to, traditional Democratic committees who are just being so active and engaged, and the numbers are swelling. I mean, you go to committee meetings, you are seeing 3, 4, 5 times the numbers that you traditionally see, and that is now translating into power at the ballot box. And so, again, this is what we have been seeing and talking about for months. John, I think I mentioned when we did our campaign kickoff in January, was the first day that it snowed. It was icy. It was the first Saturday in January. We thought we might get 30, 40 people to come out because of the road conditions. We had over 300 people come out to that campaign kickoff. Follow that up a month later in Portsmouth, did a Hampton Roads kickoff, right in your neck of the woods at Roger Brown's. We had over 300 people come out to that campaign kickoff. So, again, you are seeing this energy across the board, all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we're excited and we're fired up. And I promise you, on June the 13th, you're going to see it again. And on November 7th, you're going to see it in a big, big way.
Why are you a better candidate for the Democrats than a female Susan Platt?
Well, John, listen, I have led with our message. And my message in this campaign is about other people. It is about Virginians. It's about the electorate. And I'll let, people decide where they're going to fall. But I've led with a message that it's not about me personally. It's not about characteristics about me, but what it is about what other people want and need. There's such an economic anxiety in the Commonwealth and in the country. And if we're not talking about that, if we're not talking about what we're doing for other people to help them afford to buy a home, send their kids to college without crushing student loan debt, helping people start and grow small businesses in the Commonwealth of Virginia, getting them middle skill, higher paying jobs with technical and vocational training, reforming our criminal justice system. If we're not talking about those things and instead are talking about ourselves, that's not a winning message. And it's also not something that people are focused on. So that is what has led our campaign from day one. That's why you see so much enthusiasm. John, you mentioned, our fundraising report. We were fortunate, to have raised more than both of the other candidates in this race combined, which tells you something. And it's not just the overall number, which was pretty significant, but it's the number of donors. We have nearly 3,000 donors to this campaign, people who are passionately committed. And again, starting as little as $1 that people have decided to give because they are invested in this movement for change in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so, again, we will let the people decide on June the 13th where sort of they are. But again, I think it has got to be about other people. It's got to be about the electorate and not about ourselves. And I think that's why we are seeing such enthusiasm, and I think that's why we're leading this race.
Justin, were you pleased with your fundraising final disclosure after the first quarter 2017? Why or why not?
Yeah, no, it was very pleased, and in large part because I'm just so grateful to all the people who have decided to join this campaign. I mean, again, 3,000 people in a lieutenant governor primary. I mean, that is astounding to see that number of people be invested in what we are doing. And so, we also, again, we're very, heartened by the fact that we, raised more than both the other candidates combined. And I think that when you combine that, John, with the level of grassroots enthusiasm that you're seeing, that's a powerful winning combination. So we are not dependent, solely on money, although money helps us get our message out. I think are leading in so many ways because of that grassroots activism. Living rooms and schools and universities and community college campuses than I think anyone in this lieutenant governor's race. We've traveled now over 30,000 miles in a car over the Commonwealth of Virginia over the last 11 months. And you can't substitute that kind of, interaction with people, showing up. I was just 2 days ago in Southwest Virginia. We went down to Waynesboro and then to Lexington, met with Rockbridge County Democrats and Lexington Democrats, scooted over to Richmond, and then the Hampton Roads. I was in Norfolk yesterday, your neck of the woods, and then we were in Arlington, just last night. And so, we're doing these 300, 400, 500-mile swings every single day. And, John, I'm telling you, it's paying off big time. We won every single straw poll contested. Right. There have been 7. We're 7 for 7. John, people are seeing that enthusiasm, and they get what's happening in this race.
All right, now you raised almost $300,000 right in the first quarter. Are you concerned about your cash on hand, or do you feel you're on a trajectory to be as competitive as you need to be in media here in the final couple of months?
Yeah, no, we're very confident about our position, John, and not only we first of all we lead cash on hand again of all the candidates in addition to have doubled what everyone else raised, but we have people who are so excited about this race who are coming on board. I mean, we literally, John, at this point probably have about 100 to 150 fundraising events that people are trying to have for us in the next 55 days. I mean, as you've seen, I'm doing 3, 4, 5 events a day. In addition to the grassroots events, we're launching canvases. We actually have a weekend of action that we're launching this weekend all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have literally hundreds of volunteers, which is probably going to grow to about 1,000 volunteers by Election Day. We have an incredible ground game. We will be communicating, statewide as we have done for the last 11 months. We've already reached, by our metrics, hundreds of thousands of voters. And John, I got to tell you, it's something unlike I have seen. As you mentioned, 4 years ago, we were in a statewide primary. We won almost 49% of the statewide vote. Right. And you called it. You called a close race, and it was a great race. And people at the beginning said, you're going to lose by 30 points. You don't stand a shot. Right. But again, we were seeing that energy and that enthusiasm. This time around, it is 10 times greater than what we saw last time. And I got to tell you, John, you're a great analyst and you follow these things. You're seeing the right things. When you call us as being victorious and call us as the ones with the momentum, you're seeing the right things. And I promise you, it's exactly what I'm seeing all around our travels, all around the Commonwealth.
Well, I got to tell you, Justin, you can't work this hard and be at this many events and get this much enthusiasm and not be leading this race. I mean, I know that one of the polls showed you down to Susan Platt, and I think a lot of that is because there's just enthusiasm for her name, and she is a very nice lady. And also there's Jane Rossi out there. He's been doing a good job. But, I mean, I've been to your events. I've seen the level of enthusiasm you're generating. At the end of the day, look, when you looked at these special elections here, the one in Georgia in the 6th, Justin Fairfax, and the one in Prince William where you had Jackson Miller being defeated by Jackie Smith, I mean, it's enthusiasm is what played a huge role. And if you have the enthusiasm in a primary or a special, I mean, you don't know what that's going to turn into. I mean, I really think if you really look at this Prince William race, it's just bottom line it. And this is why I think whatever the Democratic ticket is in 2017, if you get this nomination, you're going to be the favorite to win. I don't care who the Republican nominee is. But you look at the two biggest Republican precincts in Prince William, and they couldn't turn their people out. And you look at the two biggest Democratic precincts in Prince William, and they got a bigger turnout than they've gotten in the past. That doesn't bode well for the GOP in 2017.
Yeah, John. Look, I completely agree with you.
So I just bottom line.
My wife is from Prince William County. I have Sunday dinner pretty much every night, every week in Prince William at my in-laws, and we saw that energy. I mean, talking to the neighbors, talking to people in the community there, and that translated into a big victory. And I'm telling you, John, there is a wave that you're seeing in this lieutenant governor primary in 2017 for Democrats and progressives, and it is going to bode very well. And you talk about polls. Again, we have had 7 contested straw polls for lieutenant governor. We won all 7, including Congressman Jerry Connolly's, which had over 1,000 people vote. We won 78% of the vote in that 1,000-person vote in a 3-way ballot. John, I'm telling you, you're seeing the energy, you're seeing the enthusiasm. And that is going to translate and actually, you mentioned polls as well. 4 years ago in the primary, we won 49% of the vote in Prince William County. We won 46% of the vote in Fairfax County, largest jurisdiction in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And again, we ended up winning almost 49% statewide. It is even greater what we are seeing this year. And what we've done over the last 11 months and reaching out to get hundreds of thousands of Virginians and voters. We're going to reach even more in the last 55 days leading up to June 13th. That enthusiasm is real. People are excited. I think we're going to have 1,000 people out on Election Day canvassing all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. I mean, that is ground game in a lieutenant governor primary like I don't think we've ever seen. And you're going to see some folks really excited and really celebrating on June the 13th. All
right, we got 2 more minutes. Let's get to a couple of policy issues. Interstates need to be expanded in this state. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Are you in favor of hot lanes, which is now gaining steam, PPPs, where you get hot lanes like 95 Fredericksburg to into the D.C. area? Or are you in favor of something like State Senator Frank Wagner, candidate for governor? He's saying these are a disaster. You need to just pay as you go, gasoline tax, and things like that. I mean, we have to expand these roads. In Virginia, there's only 2 ways.
Right.
Either you're going to toll them or you're going to tax. What is your preference? And please be specific.
Yeah, John, and I just have to say, I really honestly don't believe it's either or. And as I mentioned, I've traveled 30,000 miles just in the last 11 months around Virginia. I've been stuck in every kind of traffic that you can imagine, whether it's on 495, 95, 66, 64 down in Hampton Roads, 460, 29. We have been everywhere, and you probably hear that honking in the background. I'm actually in some traffic right now. So, I think it doesn't have to be either or. The P3s, public-private partnerships on the hot lanes have worked, fairly well here in Northern Virginia, and there's an expansion down, as you mentioned, Fredericksburg, Stafford area. But, in other parts of the Commonwealth, I think we can take different approaches. The tolls have not worked well in Hampton Roads, and you saw Governor McAuliffe go down there and try to solve the problems that exist with that. And people were, particularly being charged, $18,000 for tolls. People were just trying to get to work or go to the hospital, and that's outrageous. And I will fight back against that every step of the way. But, for instance, in Southside and Southwest Virginia, you can have, an expansion of the infrastructure there. You can build new roads that you do not have to toll to build. But we've got to be bold in our infrastructure investment and development. We have got to not only use the funds that were allocated in 2013 with that first real transportation infrastructure investment in the last 27 years. But we have got to, think creatively about how we expand our infrastructure development all around the Commonwealth of Virginia. And for each region, it's a little different. And again, I'm familiar with each region. I mean, we've done about 50,000 miles in the last 4 years. When I was Mark Warner's co-chair in 2014 or co-chair coordinator in 2013, I have seen, how things have developed over the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we have to be bold. We have to be creative. We also have to solve the problems with Metro in Northern Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some smart folks who are working on that now. I used to take Metro all the time. I haven't taken it probably in almost a year because of the challenges around the, Safe Surge program and other things. But again, if we do that, we will not only solve many of our transportation infrastructure problems, but we will also boost our economy because we'll have more businesses locate to these areas. We will have more economic productivity, so much of which is lost as people sit in traffic for 2 and 3 hours,
right,
getting back and forth to work. And John, we're going to be bold, I promise you, in the way that we solve these transportation problems because they bear on so much of what we're going to do going forward. But we take a future is now approach. You have to start investing now if you want great infrastructure in the future. And we take a future is now approach to other issues, to education. We got to invest now if we want to see our kids trained for the jobs of the future. With health care, we need to expand Medicaid. And you have, been a great spokesperson on this, particularly recently, and recognizing that we've given up $10.4 billion because we've not expanded Medicaid. We're giving away $6.6 million every single day. Imagine how much of that money would be used to build these roads. We wouldn't have to have this, discussion about, either taxing or P3s. If we had $10.4 billion, that would build a lot of roads. It put a lot of people to work, including in Southside and Southwest Virginia, where we need to have these projects happen. A lot of folks who are hurting workers. Yeah. Imagine how much $10.4 billion. All
right, Justin, we're out of time. You definitely get the A+.
We've got to do this.
You definitely get the A+ for enthusiasm award. You are the most enthusiastic candidate I talked to. Your enthusiasm is infectious. There's no question about it. And I just got to tell you that
John, I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much, and I appreciate you. And I know we're wrapping, but again, June 13th is going to be a critical day. As I mentioned, I believe Virginia is going to be the match that sparks the wildfire of progressive change all across this country. And I've been saying this for months. We're seeing it now. We saw it with Jackie Smith last night and her great win, and her great campaign. And I've said, John, for me, this campaign is about spiritual wealth that people have given to me and have given to all of us, and repaying a spiritual debt. I want more folks to get the exact same shot in life that I was fortunate to get, and that is the passion of our campaign, and that's why you're seeing hundreds and thousands of people come out to volunteer to make sure we win on June 13th.
More information, go to fairfaxforlg.com.